I am in Port Glasgow. More specifically, I'm stood next to Newark Castle, the well-preserved 15th and 16th century base of the Maxwell family, and definitely the oldest building hereabouts. A somewhat atypical edifice in this one-time busy transatlantic port, later shipbuilding hub, and now my 997th forgotten town.
Port Glasgow, Renfrewshire, population 14,620, rank number 697.
And we move away from the noise of traffic on Trunk Road behind me that runs from Glasgow through Port Glasgow towards Gurrock and Greenock to the gentle lapping of the Firth of Clyde. I have broken into the grounds of Newark Castle, which apparently is open summer only. Even if it were summer, it still wouldn't be open on Mondays. And there are rather beautiful views over to the peninsula on the other side. Think of places such as Bonhill from a couple of episodes back. Actually not very far over there as the crow flies, but I'm not a crow. I use a Nissan Micra and I have to come via the Erskine Bridge. And so it's here on the waterfront that the town story really began. In the late 17th century, when Glasgow magistrates purchased land from the Maxwells to build a harbour to accommodate ships which couldn't, at that time, reach the shallower waters upstream in the city. Newport, as it was known, duly merged with Newark into the single settlement of Port Glasgow, which flourished through the 18th century as the primary Clyde port for the transatlantic trade in tobacco, sugar, and all the other goods upon which Glasgow's prosperity was built, stealing a significant advantage over English ports with its shorter journey times. However, Greenock, even nearer the sea, gradually eclipsed it, and by the 19th century, the deepening of the river channel meant ships could pass right into the city itself. Port Glasgow, meanwhile, turned instead to shipbuilding, a subject to which we shall return shortly. We find 1960s signage on a decidedly 1960s building proclaiming Port Glasgow Town Centre, which is nice. And slightly confusing, the entirety of the building appears to be occupied by a branch of farm foods. We were promised a town centre, but all we got was a super-sized frozen goods retailer. Definition of disappointment. Heading up into more shops. And it has to be said, quite a few vacant premises. You can see back to mountains, but they're the other side of the water. If it weren't for the seagulls, you'd kind of forget you were near the water at all. Church Street runs down towards the War Memorial between two dual carriageways. It's fair to say that the road layout which separates the town from the Firth of Clyde really does this place no favours at all. And whilst Coronation Park, which sits on land reclaimed when two old harbours were filled in last century, is pleasant enough, it really is quite an effort to get over to it. Sculpture of two giant ship workers standing with hammers held aloft, ready to wield some serious force on something unseen below them. Various plaques embedded into the path here that leads to Tesco Extra, commemorating all the shipyards. East Yard, 1810 to 1972. Castle Yard, 1817 to 1949. Bay Yard, 1840 to 1892. I could go on. In spite of all those shut yards, it is good to see Ferguson Marine. Its giant sheds and big hefty crane still doing good work here on the banks of the Clyde. Is it worth it? I can see the Glen Rosa, which, and it will come as no surprise to those of you clued up on your Scottish politics, is the second of two Calmac ferries commissioned a decade ago, whose sister ship Glen Sannox finally entered service on the True Narran route last year, while she herself is currently scheduled for mid-2026. Whilst they may not have brought the government down on their own, they took the whole yard with them, requiring its nationalisation, spiralling costs at the taxpayers' expense, and something of a dent in the legacy of Nicola and her pals.